Hi there. People have been saying or thinking that the Holy Artist project of mine is just a joke, just a farce. Well, I want to prove those people wrong. I've done this little book called Fool and the Hero. Available from Blurb. It was the dissertation that I did for my MA that looks into the importance of the fool in today's society, and it tries to argue that the artist is one character who can take on the characteristics of the fool to help bring about new ideas and maybe even change. And this is something I'm very passionate about. And writing this book was very difficult for me because at times it was difficult to believe in. Well, you will see it's in the first passage, I believe, which I'm going to read to you. I'm going to read the introduction and a little bit extra from the book right now. And then we'll see, eh? Okay. Right. Introduction. When I enter the world of dreams, acquaintances and familiar places find themselves on a wind-swept yet idyllic island facing the North Sea. No matter if they belong there or not, the island's name is Venø, which means beautiful island in Old Norwegian. It is where I grew up, but through my ancestors I have worked the earth of that island for over 400 years. When I dream, it is as if I never left, or more poignantly broke out of my box. The lines to draw a box are programmed into my hand. I'm forever doodling different combinations, struggling to find a way out, wanting to experience a paradigm shift. From I was a boy, I wanted to explore, to find new frontiers, and to be a hero. With my friend and father, I built a raft, and together we went on grand adventures under the flag of a silver skull. It was us against nature, on a quest that would prove our worth. Our motto was that of Ernest Shackleton. I believe it is in our nature to explore, to reach out into the unknown. The only true failure would be not to explore at all. The words of Shackleton. However, we never got any further than the confines of the bay, and the special rock formation we found were not gateways to a parallel universe. I did not become an explorer. Instead, I took the path of the artist, believing that he is a licensed fool, or as Susan Sontag said, the exemplary modern artist is a broker in madness. And she continues, one of the tasks art has assumed is making forays into and taking up positions on the frontiers of consciousness, often very dangerous to the artist as a person, and reporting back what is there. Being a freelance explorer of spiritual dangers, the artist gains a certain license to behave differently from other people. There are two kinds of fool, the licensed and the natural. The natural fool is he who cannot help acting stupid. We, however, are talking about the licensed fool, who chooses to act the fool and does so with a purpose. There is a great need to define the licensed fool further. However, we will return to that later. I, as an artist, often wonder if I made the right choice. If my goal in life is to influence the world, then maybe the guise of the fool is not the smartest of choices. Who listens to the fool anyway? A line of thought that led me to a period of apathy. For 1 month I struggled to believe in the arguments I was trying to make in this text. So much so that I was chained to my bedroom and trapped by what Susan Sontag described as spiritual dangers, what I like to call the box that is my mind. It all felt too much like a never-ending cycle, a bit like the story of Sisyphus, who was punished by the gods to push a boulder up a mountain, only to repeat the process after he completed the task for all eternity. In all essence, then, this dissertation is a personal journey where the licensed fool who calls himself the holy artist will from time to time present himself and his truths. He will first appear to present a perception of our society which will be used to look at the points that I will try to make, and maybe at the end we will have convinced ourselves that the fool in art is important for society and can potentially help bring about a paradigm shift. So now over to the holy artist. Behold the capitalist system that is our society. It gives free rein to the market, requiring us, the consumers, to become more homogeneous, demanding predictability, and makes us dependent of its products. A system that appeals to humans' desire for perfection and happiness, but never can fulfill its promise. For in so doing, we would no longer need the next product. Heroes who fight for freedom, discover new frontiers, and have upstanding morals will be surplus, because that is not what the system needs. It needs a poster boy who will fuel the people with desire. The answer could be celebrities from reality, TV stars to sports stars who advocate senseless spending. For art to have a value, it needs to generate money, which in turn encourages art that is tested and tried, or predictable and conforms to current values, which suppresses the artist's taking on aspects of the licensed fool who encourages going against the norm and challenges the consensus. A government that has reduced its support of the arts and lets the market determine what is good and bad art is a sign of such a system. Thank you, holy artist. Darren O'Donnell, a playwright and actor, seems to share this view. He says, "Capitalism is not here to stay, but until it goes, theatre will be sidelined simply because it can't be commodified. Capitalism's most basic requirement." He excludes big productions such as musicals from this idea, and goes on to point out that mid-range theatre finds itself in its own bubble, disconnected from other practitioners of art and philosophy. This idea leads him into an interesting point that theatre has a tendency to restage old classics to an extent where actors see it as the pinnacle of their career to be part of such a production. He draws a parallel to the visual arts and asks, do we see the Mona Lisa repainted in different outfits? Does this framework on society and art match up to reality? I would say no. It is a polarized viewpoint, but one that I think will help clarify the points that will be made about the hero and licensed fool. Jörg Heiser and Jennifer Higgy, editors of Frieze magazine, point out that any claim made about art today will quickly meet a counterclaim. Here is one example. Art today is an eclectic and superficial rehash of the art of earlier periods made by increasingly professionalized art school graduates. Everything is possible and therefore nothing matters. Counterclaim. We live in an exciting period when art is and what it can be is pretty much up for grabs. This allows for an unprecedented number of positions to be expressed, many of which rub up against each other in a productive way. It would not be an overstatement to say that the art being made today is more representative of the complexities of people's lives than ever before. Which was a quote from Jennifer Higgy and Jörg Heiser. And I shall stop there. So the book goes on to look at the hero, to look at how change can happen, to look at the fool, and one example of an artist who could be considered a fool. And tries to prove the point of the worth of the artist today. I think all those people who say to an artist that they should go off and get a real job, pardon my French, should go and fuck themselves hard and long with my fucking fist covered in glass shards. Was that too extreme? I just want to get across that this really, really fucking matters to me. I think also to the rest of the world.